Man, I've been dreaming about making content like this for a long time, guys. Finally got all the equipment that we need. Company about to blow up.
On-site episode 1, baby.
Me and Andy learning how to use this gimbal. Sir. What up, fam? Welcome to the Influential Walls YouTube channel. We are starting a new series called On-Site that's going to give you a behind-the-scenes look on what it's like to actually be a muralist, what it's like to actually own an agency and run a business where I connect artists to clients. And the goal of this series is really to teach you everything I know about sales, marketing, branding, working with schools, working with artists, and really just uplifting the community as a whole by helping other artists have a little bit more of an outlet in talking about where they've come from, the things that they're working on, and where they're going. So the On-Site series is really going to be a behind the scenes look at what each job looks like at Influential Walls, starting from the beginning and with the grand reveal at the end. And the beginning of every project starts with boring stuff, taping everything up, laying out all of the tarp on the floor, getting up your projections, and really just making sure that our artists are all set up for success in doing things like getting the lift ready, getting the custodians numbers when we're working at a school so we can get in and out, understanding where simple things are like the restroom or the storage closet for our paints, and just making sure that the site is ready to go. The wall is cleaned. Ideally, the client should be power washing the wall for you before you get on site. But sometimes that doesn't happen and you got to clean the wall a little bit yourself. Sometimes we'll bring a sponge and scrub it down. In this case with Johnson, we didn't actually have to do that. So they actually cleaned up the wall. So it was really easy for Trudy to go in and to do her thing.
Are you painting today, Derek?
Trudy, how old are you for our small little YouTube audience? Or am I not allowed to ask because you're a girl?
Well, you can ask because I'm not that old yet. I'm 22.
22. 22. How many murals have you painted now? Do you know? Do you keep count or no?
Probably around 15.
Crazy.
It's a cup. You just don't want it to be drippy. If it gets on the floor, it's really hard to clean, and you're going to have to clean it. We're not going to. Okay?
So for those of you guys that don't know, Influential Walls is an educational mural agency. So what exactly does that mean? So as an agency, we are here to provide educational resources for artists of all ages. So that's exactly why we do content like this, to teach adult artists how to make money, how to close deals, how to brand themselves. That's exactly what we do in our mentorship program online. I work directly one-on-one with a lot of artists. I help them revise their brand assets. I teach them about email marketing, social media marketing, sales in general, how to objection handle, all the things. But we also work directly with schools. So when we're working with schools, we're teaching kids how to be successful artists rather than talented artists. What that looks like is we're essentially teaching kids the same things that we teach adults, but it's a little more dumbed down. We teach them about profit, marketing, where to share their work to actually get real leads and to get people interested. And we also teach them how to paint murals, because more times than not, usually when we pull up to a school that's elementary, middle, or high school, kids are painting their first mural. So we're teaching them things about just the movement of their shoulders, of their elbows, of their wrists, and how it kind of relates to the wall as a giant canvas. But everything that we do is in regards to education, right? And that's what makes our company super unique, is everything we do is educational. And we also provide some of the best artwork y'all have seen. So one of the best parts about working with schools is working with kids. It's also one of the trickiest parts. But for any of you guys that are working with schools or interested in working with schools, schools don't have money for art. Schools have money for education. So when you're selling to a school, you really want to focus on what you can do for the kids, what you can do for the community as a whole, because that's what the schools are going to buy into. And schools have very, very specific budgets. So they can't just pull money out of their, say, for example, they can't pull money out of their sports budget to allocate it to art. That's not how it works. They operate on tax dollars, so it's very strict where they can take money from. So if you're selling only art without any sort of educational component, it limits where the school can pull money from. So if you're selling education with art being the byproduct, like what we're doing, then it allows the school to have a lot more money at their disposal because they can start pulling out of multiple pools of funds rather than just one pool of fund, particularly for art. Some game right there, fam. One of my favorite parts of being on site is being able to actually spend time with the artists that we're working with. I love getting to know their stories, getting to know where their business is at. And I'm hoping this interview with Trudy helps you guys kind of get to know her a little bit better. She's super sweet, a little more reserved, but she is a wall killer. And she is actually in our mentorship program. We've been working with her actively on closing a deal with an apartment home. And I'm hoping that this interview helps you guys kind of be exposed to some of the working components of what it's like to actually close deals on the back end. When did you paint your first mural?
Like 2022.
2022? 15. It's like 5 a year so far. This year going to be the big year though. So, oh yeah, what happened with the apartment complex? Did you hit the Mac?
Oh, I forgot to hit the back.
Gosh. Tell the audience what happened with that as far as like scaffolding versus lift. Like in the complications you had to go through with them, because I feel like that's something that artists should probably keep in mind when they're planning on getting a scaffold or a lift, and like when to use it, when to use one, when to use the other.
Well, for this project, it was like impossible for us to get a lift onto the site because the lift had to go through a narrow hallway, and then it's also by a pool, so there was no way it was gonna fit in that area. So we had to go with a scaffolding. But the scaffolding is gonna be a lot more laborious because you have to climb up and down the scaffolding. But there are scaffolding that come with stairs, so that's a lot easier than like climbing the sides, which I found out recently.
What was the price difference between this? Was it major between getting one with stairs and one with the ladder?
Yeah, I think it was a $4,000 difference.
Holy crap. That's a lot. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
That's insane. Wait, so are you ordering the one with the stairs?
Yeah, I'm not climbing the thighs. It's like 40 feet tall.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. 40 feet tall. Man, that's even gnarly with stairs. I don't even know if I've seen scaffolding with stairs. That's dope that they do that. So and that cost is being passed on to the client?
Yeah.
Right? You just told them it's going to have to cost more because you have to get a special sort of scaffold for it?
Yep. Yeah.
So Trudy's talking to an apartment management company, but they own like 6,000 properties or something across the US. For apartment homes, particularly the one that Trudy is talking to, they have an exclusive vendor list. So basically, once she's in with them, she becomes one of the few vendors, aka artists, that can work with them. And because they have 6,000 properties, like once she's in, she's in. So she can now pitch to all the other properties and make hopefully a bunch of money. And that's why me and her we're kind of working through like, all right, how do we get in with these people? Because Trudy's going to be on skyscrapers soon.
Just no pressure. I'm just trying to remember, okay, this is gonna go forward now, wait.
Another fun thing about being on site is having some of our mentees physically there to learn a little bit more about their craft or to learn more about things like operating a scissor lift. In this case, we had Niki come to site and she was asking us how to actually use a scissor lift because she knows that she's going to need to rent one for her upcoming project, but hasn't used one before. Now, it's important that you guys get lift certified, but I wanted to bring her on site to show her the basic controls on how to use a lift and talk to her about things like commercial liability insurance and general liability insurance, which is basically just insuring against any property damage that may happen if you're on site and you drive the lift through a wall. God forbid, the insurance company should be able to cover a lot of those expenses if you're paying into an insurance policy.
About to die at the hands of one of my mentees.
Yeah, show me how to turn it on.
Turn it on. You pull it out. And
Pull it
now
out.
we see the charge.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's on.
Now I want to walk this thing with me. So which way, which switch should be right or left?
That
I want
should
it to
be
move with me.
to the right, right?
Right.
And then you would hold the toggle and move forward.
Mm-hmm. So now I can walk with this thing, right?
It's like a puppy.
Like to get a lift, like in and out of a gate or something like that.
Got it.
Right. So sometimes it just makes sense to just take it off and.
So sometimes those controls are somewhere at the bottom.
So these controls will always be in the cage, the basket, whatever you want to call it, cage or basket. But on certain types of scissor lifts, yes, you will have those controls available down here. So let's say, for example, you need to leave like your lift somewhere overnight, which you probably are going to have to because you're just going to run these things for a while. You want to make sure no one messes with your lift, right? You just basically will go down to the bottom, same controls, and then you'll just make the cage, the basket go all the way up so no one can get in your basket.
Got it.
But by far, one of the sickest moments of the project is the f***ing reveal. All right, that's the wrap.
Yo, get the speaker box loud, hitting that stuff till you hearing that sound.